Made a project on my GitHub account. That's really great. Open source mentor at Student Code. No, that's nice. I think Abhishek, the DSC lead, was also a mentor there, right?
I don't know. Actually, many people were there as mentor.
Yeah. Okay. So can you guys see my screen? Can someone just confirm
Yes,
the screen is?
Arjun, it's visible.
Okay. So I'll keep this session as much interactive as you guys want it to be. Like the presentation is really short. I just prepared it for the sake of it. So if you have any doubts in between, feel free to ask. And like any questions whatsoever. So the guest speaker will be here in like 5 to 10 minutes. He's a G software. So yeah, I think I must be visible now as well. So hi guys. Let's start with this. Okay, I've forgotten how to use PowerPoint. Okay, this was presenting, right? Is the presentation visible? Are you seeing it in the presenter mode, I guess? Right?
Yeah, it's visible in presenter mode.
There's no issues. I mean, yeah, you guys can see it. That's fine. Okay, so first of all, a little bit introduction about me. My name is Sarthak. I'm the technical lead at DSC here in VIT Bhopal. I am a huge open source lover. I'm currently doing my MLH fellowship with Facebook, where I'm working in the version 2 release for Docusaurus. It's a utility tool by Facebook to create documentation for open source projects. And it's a great project. I mean, it literally creates a static website for you just by writing the command npx init docusaurus. That's it. And you'll have a static website ready with like 4 or 5 pages and everything. So that's what I'm working on currently. Apart from that, I've been an open source maintainer for a lot of organizations. I've done maintaining at Hacking Codes. I'm currently doing it at DSC DAIIT. They have a program called SLOP, semester long projects, where I'm maintaining 2 projects right now. Uh, Apart from that, I've contributed to a lot of organizations in my own time, and some competitions that I've done are like those with Summer of Code and Program Summer of Code, where I've contributed to a huge extent. So that's something about me. Let's go to the next slide. So first of all, the question arises is why open source and what is open source and what is closed source software. So anybody who has any idea what open source or closed source is, you guys can write it in the chat. I'm actually reading it. At the end of the session. Okay. Actually, you guys can just unmute yourself and talk as well if you want. So anybody who has any idea what open source and closed source software is? No one? Cool. No issues. So basically, closed source software is more or less any software. Yeah. Is anybody
Well,
speaking?
open source, yeah, I just took a moment to unmute. Open source, from what I know, is basically where the source code is released in public mostly under Creative Commons license, so that other people can also work on the same project. Instead of,
Yeah.
say, companies like Microsoft and all whose source code is, well, not available to people.
Yeah, so that's a closed source software. That's actually the correct answer. So open source software and closed source software basically have one difference between them, that the source code is available or not available online or anywhere for that matter. So open source softwares are the softwares whose source code is available. And source code being available doesn't mean that anybody can use it. It's just that there have a lot of different types of license, like an MIT license or a Creative Commons license. There are many types of license, which tell them that you can either use this for your own purpose or you can just contribute to it, but you cannot use it. You have to pay for using it. That's open source. And closed source software is basically any software that you have to essentially buy to use, and you cannot look at its source code. A great example of that would be what we are using right now, Microsoft Office. That's a closed source software. And if you want to see the open source equivalent of Microsoft Office, then that will be LibreOffice, which people use in Linux. And for that matter, Linux OS is the most popular open source uh, software, you can say, open source project, Linux OS, and its equivalent will be Microsoft OS or Mac OS, which is a closed source software. So moving forward, why open source software? So before we move forward, I actually leave that. Can you guys tell me that what do you think will be the advantages of like open source software as compared to closed source software. I'll switch back to the slides if anyone has. Yeah, can you guys tell me? Oh, so Kunal is here. Hi, Kunal.
Hi, Sarthak.
Yeah, so I'll just hand it over to you in like 5 minutes. I'm just giving them an introduction. So yeah, can you guys tell me what will be the advantages of open source software as compared to closed source?
Well, more contributors, a wider variety of ideas.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody else? Guys, there's no wrong answer in this. So yeah, you
Less
guys
number
can
of
just.
software bugs as more people contribute and fix those issues.
Okay, I don't know if you read that in the slide, but that's actually the same point that I've written.
Yeah, I
Open source is
There is
more
no
helpful for
cost. There
community.
is no cost involved in the open source. Like the code is available online and anyone can use and edit it.
So there is a cost involved, but yeah, it is lesser compared to closed source software because the licensing cost is
Yeah,
not there for it.
relatively less than the licensing fees.
Yeah. Anybody else? Cool. So I'll just move forward. Um, let's go. Okay. So yeah, why open source software? First of all, that the core developers which are working on the project. So obviously, every project has some core developers working on them, and there's a whole team working on the project. So the core developers can focus on work which is of high value and which requires like extreme attention. So that will be the main functionality of the project. And the other point that one of the students also mentioned that there are less bugs because more people are working on it and they are quickly solved. Because since a lot of developers are working on it, they see the bugs, they notice the bugs first, and they're quick to solve it. Uh, Third point is that they use best and modern software development practices because I mean you won't find any well-maintained open source repository that has like older software or like older coding practices going on in it. And as one more person mentioned, that there's less lower cost of ownership. And obviously, since your project is open source and a lot of people are working on it, you're practically getting free advertising. So a couple of things that I want to show you here. So there's this one point that I said that the core developers focus on high value of work and the best and modern software development practices are followed. So there's this, if you can say, let me just show you a pull request from a project that I'm currently working on. And that will show you that how they follow these practices. So there it is. I'll just copy the link. Yeah. And I had to change my system in the last minute, otherwise I had everything open. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so this is one of the pull requests, and don't worry if you don't know what a pull request is. Pull request is basically someone, one of the developers submitting a piece of code and saying, hey, if you like this and if you think this works well with the project, can you please merge it with the project so that it can be used by other people. So this is a simple pull request for a person who made a search functionality without using any third-party software. To put it very crudely. So this is the start. This is where he submitted his code. You can check out the files and everything. And I just want to show you the conversation that goes on when someone submits a code. So he had some suggested changes here. Then there were again changes and again and again and again. And it just goes on to the point that the code is actually perfect for the organization. And once it is done, then it is closed. And I don't even think, yeah, this pull request never got merged. So even after this conversation, this much amount of conversation, they thought that, okay, this is not following our best practices. So we'll just convert it into a draft to the point when it actually follows them. So yeah, that's the level of in open source. Moving forward, why should you contribute to open source? And there are three very good points for that. First of all, you gain a lot of real world experience because when you're working on a project at this scale, then you obviously understand how the work will go on when you take a job or anything like that. Then also you get a lot of networking opportunities. So like currently I am working with Facebook. So I've been in talk with a lot of core open source developers at Facebook, and obviously they have a lot to take. I have a lot to learn from them and they are very good teachers. And obviously, apart from the maintainers, you also learn from other developers. You learn from their experience. You learn from this pull request that I showed you. You understand, okay, so what type of work do they expect and what type of work you should do. So moving on, there are some popular open source competitions, and that is why Karan is here. I'll just hand it to him. So the first and The most popular open source competition throughout the world or in India, you can say, is Google Summer of Code, a GSOC, which requires like an expert level to get in. So GSOC is basically an open source event by Google where a lot of organizations can just come in and say that, okay, we'll host some projects. And then Google just pays the students that are working on it. And I think Karan can explain it better. So Karan, I'll just hand it to you.
So I'm Kunal, by the way.
Oh, Kunal, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So the main idea behind contributing to open source for me initially was that I want to get into GSOC. So there was no motivation behind anything कि open source पे काम करना है, वैसा कुछ नहीं था. GSOC में जाना इसके लिए open source पे करना है, ठीक है. So that was the main reason for me for contributing to open source. So in the third year, everything started. How many in which year are most of the guys in?
They're mostly freshers or second years.
Okay, in first year and second year. Nice.
Yeah.
So you have a good start. You can start contributing early. So what you can do is that, so basically Google GSOC पे जाना है कि open source के क्यों अच्छा है, why is it good, you want to know the advantages and all that thing. अरे रिप्लाई करो यार, माइक ऑन करके. GSOC. हाँ, GSOC पे ही जाना है, मतलब सीधा मुद्दे पे जाना है.
One of the reasons which you can see, one of the reasons which you can see in the presentation कि GSOC को क्यों जाना है, because it has a stipend of $3,000, which is like 2.2 lakh rupees, and getting that amount while you're in college, that's just amazing.
ठीक है, तो मेरा भी वही reason था, ठीक है. So there isn't anything कि I wanted to contribute to open source or something like that. But what happened is that when I started for GSOC in third year, there were many projects that I wanted to take part in, or that I found some of them were good and some of them were like basically web development. So I was not that much inclined towards web development side. I was like more towards machine learning side. So there were many web development projects as well. So yes Tejani, I like it. GSOC पैसा ही पैसा है. Lovely. So भाई वो temporary पैसा है, ठीक है. तो तेरा जो खत्म हो जाएगा तेरा $5,000 नहीं ओके MLH में $5,000, सॉरी आई रेड इट रॉन्ग. तो ठीक है, वो तेरा खत्म हो जाएगा फटाफट. तो ऐसा नहीं कि भाई तेरा लॉन्ग टर्म फायदा है, तेरा शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए, बट उसके बाद तेरा जो सीवी बनेगा और तो जो कॉन्टेक्ट्स बनेंगे वो बहुत फायदा होगा. सो लेट्स मूव ऑन टू माय थर्ड ईयर, ठीक है. सो करंटली आई एम इन माय फोर्थ ईयर, आई एम हैविंग माय फाइनल एग्जाम्स गोइंग ऑन. सो what happened in the third year was that initially I did not knew that much about open source, and a friend of mine told me that there is something called GSOC which gives you $3,000 for working for 3 months, and I'm like, wow, that's great, let's do it. So I started looking at various different organizations. So if there was a web development organization, and even though if I wasn't interested in it, I used to put my name, used to submit some extremely bad pull requests, like the ones we are seeing right now that is happening in Hack Oktoberfest. People are correcting the text, people are correcting the documents with some rubbish things, politicians. So I did that while I was in my third year. Okay, so that was very amateurish for me, but I did all those things. So I corrected some documents in some web development apps, and eventually in the web development part I knew that I wasn't going to be selected. So there was a project called Orca CNN in ESIP community. So ESIP organization was also kind of earth science project organization, which was of open source and was like helping everybody back then. And
should
so
I just open the GSOC? Should I open the GSOC org if you suggest?
No, it's okay. No, it's completely good. So ESIP, so there was an organization named ESIP, and हाँ, बोर हो रहा है तो लिख देना कि बोर हो रहा है. So I would know कि बोर हो रहा है तो ये टॉपिक से हटना है, दूसरे को टॉपिक पे जाना है, ठीक है. Be completely frank, ठीक है. So ESIP organization, so I was in ESIP, so I was contributing towards ESIP organization, and there were many students along with me who were contributing as well, and in the last who were contributing from the past 1 month, and there were 4 students who were with me who are contributing continuously. So until the last month, or even after the last month when your application was submitted, I was contributing, and there were 4 other with me who were contributing as well. Okay, so out of them, I unfortunately was not selected क्योंकि मेरा गोल ही ये था कि पैसा चाहिए, ओपन सोर्स पे काम नहीं करना है, कुछ नहीं करना है, जस्ट आई वांटेड दैट $3,000 स्टाइपेंड, ठीक है. सो आई वाज नॉट सिलेक्टेड. बहुत हार्ड वर्क किया था, It was like around 2 months of continuous efforts of day and night efforts, because the mentors are there in USA, and for them it's day and night shift that is different from us. So I worked really hard for 2 months, but select नहीं हुआ, and a better guy named Abhishek Singh was selected eventually, जो open source पे काम कर रहा था. So he was working for open source for quite some time, and his reason was not like me कि GSOC इसके लिए करना है. So there were not other intentions. He wanted to learn new things, and that was some basic his needs, and therefore he was selected. So whatever your inner intentions are would be eventually be seen, okay, in your proposal or in the way you talk, in the way you communicate, because these mentors, they are extremely smart. The way you talk with them or the way you write, they would know that what are your inner intentions, okay, and even if you try to bluff something, they would catch you within a second. So don't dare to do that with them. I did it in the third year, so I know that. So मेरे मॉडल का एक्यूरेसी इतना अच्छा नहीं आ रहा था, ठीक है. So I told that my model's accuracy is like 94%, 94.5%, complete dishonesty, ठीक है. My mentors called me, show your model, show the collab notebook, and then फिर उधर पोपट हो गया, and I was like कि हाँ sir, sorry sir, ठीक है. So don't do that at all. Don't bluff. First thing. Second, fear. There are many things that I got to know from the third year GSOC failure, ठीक है. So after that, I started contributing towards open source just for fun, ठीक है. So there was Emori organization. I contributed there because eventually I wanted to learn something for Node.js and all that things. I wanted to improve or enhance my web development skills and not just stick to machine learning side. So I started contributing over there I contributed there for over a month and learned some pretty cool things. Even in there, I went towards machine learning side as well. I started learning TensorFlow JS and how to use it, and T5JS and all that things. Okay, so फिर Node तो सीखा ही नहीं, HTML वो सब ठीक ठाक है. So there also I switched towards there, and then in later on there was an organization called Orca Sound. So currently suspense. I was selected in Orca Sound, ठीक है. But how did I got selected? And there were so many proposals, and so assume there were like 8 to 9 projects. I don't remember exactly, 8 to 9 different projects, and the first one was based on active learning. So what happens in active learning is that you pick up the uncertainty samples, the probability. You pick up the samples that are most uncertain. Machine learning कितने लोग को इंटरेस्ट है by the way? मी लिखो यार, वरना माइक चालू करके बोलो. That's completely cool.
Yeah, guys, you can just tell them to discuss one process fine. नहीं भी है तो बोल दो नहीं है.
हाँ, नहीं भी है तो बोल दो. अरे मतलब तो मैं मशीन लर्निंग की तरफ इतना नहीं जाऊंगा, ठीक है. Because I will be like ML कर रहा हूँ तुम लोग को. हाँ, नो देख प्रतीक yes, nice. Okay, Ayushi, nice.
मेरे को खुद नहीं है मशीन लर्निंग में इंटरेस्ट, मैं तो खुद वेब डेवलपमेंट.
हाँ, देख वेब डेवलपमेंट में. So I won't go that much in the detail of the project, ठीक है, if most of them are not interested, क्योंकि तुम लोग को मजा नहीं आएगा और ऊपर से जाएगा and you will be like कि क्या बोल के गया. So then I started contributing towards open source. ओपन सोर्स पे कंट्रीब्यूट करना चालू किया मैंने थर्ड ईयर के एंड में, फोर्थ ईयर के बिगिनिंग में, ठीक है. आई कंट्रीब्यूटेड टुवर्ड्स कपल ऑफ ओपन सोर्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, जैसे कि ये इमोरी बोला. फिर उसके बाद आई कंट्रीब्यूटेड टुवर्ड्स डीपी. देयर वाज अनदर ओपन सोर्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, वो एमआरआई के लिए था, मेडिकल इमेजेस के लिए. सो आई कंट्रीब्यूटेड टुवर्ड्स अ कपल ऑफ देम, and then I realized that when I was solving their issues, they used to give me feedbacks that were like really good. So ऐसे क्लासेस में भी जाके वो तुम लोग को फीडबैक नहीं मिलेगा कि योर कोड इज एक्सट्रीमली बैड और समथिंग लाइक दैट, एंड दे यूज्ड टू literally give me a complete detail. They used to reply via mail that this are the things that you have done, thank you very much, but you could optimize it in a better way. तो तुम लोग का कोड ऑप्टिमाइजेशन ऑटोमेटिकली तुम लोग सीख जाते हो. So currently you guys should be doing CPA as well, you know, right? For if you are aiming for placements.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody is doing this.
Yeah. हाँ, तो वो भी ऑप्टिमाइजेशन और वो सब भी इट गेट्स इम्प्रूव कि वो लोग तुम लोग को गाइड कर रहे हैं. सो द मेंटर्स फ्रॉम देयर आर गाइडिंग यू. ऑनलाइन मेंटरशिप कहाँ से मिलती है? ऑनलाइन मेंटरशिप तेरे को तू जब कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा, ठीक है, सो तू कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा तो वो लोग तेरे को बोलेंगे कि अगर तू अच्छा कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहा है तो वो लोग तेरे को मेल करेंगे कि तूने ये अच्छा कंट्रीब्यूट किया है, इट इज गुड, अभी तू यहाँ पे कोड ऐसे ऑप्टिमाइज कर सकता है या फिर यहाँ पे ऐसे चेंजेस कर सकता है, तो वो लोग ऑटोमेटिकली तेरे को रीच आउट करेंगे. एंड वन थिंग अबाउट ओपन सोर्स इज दैट आई नोटिस दैट यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ वॉशिंगटन, most of you, it is like quite in the top 10 or top 15 universities, I guess it's
Yeah.
in top 10. So from there people, from their mentors and people used to email me and tell that these are the codes you have done wrong, you could optimize in this way. So just imagine वो लोग ने कितना उखाड़ा रहेगा कि they are in University of Washington and they are replying to you and they are helping you just for contributing to open source. Varna, if you message anyone from University of Washington, nobody is going to reply you via LinkedIn or anything like that. Okay. But if you are helping them, they would definitely mail you or they would definitely help you out. So ये बहुत बड़ा advantage है for contributing to open source. ठीक है, so you get to interact with a lot of
एक चीज जैसे अभी आई जस्ट शोड यू गाइस अ पुल रिक्वेस्ट, उसमें लाइक 38 मैसेजेस की वो कॉन्वर्सेशन थी एंड लिटरली वो लोग एक एक लाइन पे मार्क करके बताते हैं व्हेन दे आर डूइंग लाइक एक्सट्रीम कोड रिव्यूज, लाइक दिस लाइन इज रॉन्ग और यू कैन ऑप्टिमाइज इट इन दिस वे. सो ऑब्वियसली आई मीन वो स्टार्टिंग में कभी कभी लगता है कि ओके यार मेरा कोड ही नहीं मर्ज हो रहा, मैंने इतनी मेहनत करी, मैंने 2 रात उठ के लिखा, बट इन द लॉन्ग रन इट विल टीच यू वेरी गुड कोडिंग प्रैक्टिसेस व्हिच आर एक्चुअली यूज्ड इन जॉब्स. और वो फिर बाद में अपने आप जब तुम इंटरव्यू देने जाओगे, यू गेट इनटू अ जॉब, इट इज नोटिसेबल बाय द इंटरव्यूअर या ओके ही हैज रियल वर्ल्ड एक्सपीरियंस या ही डज नॉट हैव रियल वर्ल्ड एक्सपीरियंस.
तो देखो पर्सनल प्रोजेक्ट करोगे, ठीक है, तो पर्सनल प्रोजेक्ट करोगे वो तुम लोग के रेडार में जो है, द पीपल हु आर रिलेटेड इन द ग्रुप वुड बी एबल टू हेल्प यू. बट इफ यू आर कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टू ओपन सोर्स, जो लोग स्टड लोग हैं, लिटरल वाले, कुछ उखाड़ के रखा है, वो लोग तुम लोग को हेल्प कर रहे हैं और तुम लोग को वैसा बनने में हेल्प कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, सो नाउ लेट्स फोकस बैक टू द जीसॉक जर्नी. ठीक है, तो फिर ऑर्का साउंड मार्च में चालू हुआ. सो नहीं, आई स्टार्टेड कंट्रीब्यूटिंग इन द मंथ ऑफ मार्च फॉर ऑर्का साउंड. ओके, so what happened was that so there were many projects and I have to, so there would be 7 to 8 projects every time. ठीक है, not every time but most of the time, and उसमें से 2 projects select होंगे या फिर 1 project select होगा. So in my case there was only single project selected from out of 7 to 8 projects that were there, and it was the first one. So it was the active learning project which I contributed towards it. Second, the machine learning project that I did last time. Okay, और एक और चीज, so when I was not selected in GSOC, ठीक है, थर्ड ईयर में GSOC सिलेक्ट नहीं हुआ था, I did not stop working on that project. मैं वो प्रोजेक्ट पे काम करते गया because I thought that as I worked 2 months in the past, why should I stop it? ठीक है, why should I stop it? So I thought that, and I started working on it more and more, even though I had a limited data, and I showed the results to my mentor, and my mentors were like, okay, that's pretty good, but it's not that much as compared to what Abhishek Singh did after 3 months of final training. अभी उसके बाद एक और अच्छी चीज, I used that GSOC project, the knowledge that I gained. So it was basically that you have to convert the audio files to spectrograms and then identify which model works the best. So I used that knowledge and I won the first prize in idea. That there was a competition in my college, so named as idea competition, where you have to show how your ideas can be used in different places, and so I won first prize for AI in agriculture. So उधर GSOC ने हेल्प किया. फिर सेकेंड थिंग कि मेरा जो मिनी प्रोजेक्ट था वो भी मैंने GSOC का प्रोजेक्ट ही दिखा दिया. So there also my work was reduced. And finally I wrote a paper as well on the project that was based on the GSOC project, that the project that I worked for 2 months. And in all these times, ठीक है, ये जितने 4-5 महीने में, my mentor was constantly with me. He was helping me कि क्या करना है, कैसे करना है. So he did not have any obligation to help me. ठीक है, why would he help me? मतलब मैं कौन हूँ? I am not selected. I am not a guy who is selected. Why would anyone help me? But he continuously helped me. और वो बंदा PhD है, ठीक है, so masters PhD. So that much level of knowledge he has as compared to me, and that even though he was still helping me. So open source में करने का यही मेन फायदा है कि people would help you. तुम लोग को कुछ बनाएंगे वो लोग. They would show you the right path. ऐसा नहीं कि ओपन सोर्स में कर रहे हैं कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है. पीपल आर लाइक कि कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है, क्यों ओपन सोर्स में करें? ओपन सोर्स में करोगे तुम लोग को बहुत कुछ मिलेगा. You would get things that you would not expect from doing a personal project or something like that. That is my guarantee. No, some organizations don't do partiality. वो लोग के mentors कुछ ऐसे होते हैं जो IIT की तरफ ज़्यादा inclined होते हैं. Basically वो mentors इंडियन ही होते हैं क्योंकि वो लोग को ही पता है. जो US वाले mentors है वो लोग को नहीं पता रहता है कि बट वो बहुत कम होते हैं कि IIT अच्छा है, ये अच्छा है, so they would choose the best student. ठीक है, अभी
So one
moving
thing
on
I'd
to the
like to add इधर, one thing I'd like to add कि जैसे तुम सब like everybody is here as a beginner, so like everybody is inclined towards the you know the stipend amount $3,000 and $5,000, and we're not gonna lie, हम लोग भी थे starting में. But once you actually get into it, you realize कि okay वो तो बस एक बहुत छोटा सा side added benefit है. The actual benefit is the mentorship and I'll say the networking. Because the contacts you make here, जैसे Kunal talks to the professors at University of Washington, he'll obviously stay in touch with them till a long time. I mean, और वो तुम्हारा काफी काम निकल जाएगा यार उन्हें. अगर I'll put it in very crude words, they'll help you a lot, and you guys can actually तुम उनसे कुछ भी निकाल सकते हो. And you guys can actually try to go out of India, like try working for them. Obviously, you'll get job opportunities and things like that. So बहुत ज़्यादा added benefits होते हैं apart from the stipend, and stipend तो है ही.
मास्टर्स कितने लोग को करना है? मैं कर रहा हूँ. कितने लोग को करना है और मास्टर्स? Who are planning? ओके. नहीं माइट, अच्छा ठीक है. हाँ, मेरा भी फर्स्ट ईयर सेकंड ईयर में फिक्स नहीं था, थर्ड ईयर में भी फिक्स नहीं, फोर्थ ईयर में मैं फिक्स हुआ. ठीक है, तो भाई जो लोग मास्टर्स कर रहे हो, नॉट, हाँ ठीक है. सो दोज हु आर डूइंग मास्टर्स, मेक श्योर दैट यू डू GSOC. नहीं भी कर रहे हो, नहीं भी सिलेक्ट हो रहे, नॉट एन इशू. जस्ट बी इन कॉन्टेक्ट विद द मेंटर्स के साथ कॉन्टेक्ट में रखो. अभी 5th September I guess there was World 5th October, sorry, there was World Teachers Day, right? So at that time it is a very good opportunity to tell your mentors that thank you for shaping me, इतना मुझे बनाया, इतना ये किया, even though you are not selected. ऐसा नहीं कि भाई GSOC में गए सिलेक्ट हो जाओ. ठीक है, मेंटर्स के साथ रिलेशनशिप ना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो वो लोग को मेल करो, मेल देम दैट थैंक यू हैव शेप्ड मी एंड ऑल दैट थिंग दैट यू फील फॉर योर मेंटर्स. कुछ भी मत करना, डू थिंग्स दैट आर जेन्युइन. ठीक है, एंड फिर अभी GSOC का 3 महीना चालू हुआ. ठीक है, आई एम सिलेक्टेड. अभी हाउ एम आई सिलेक्टेड? मैं वो प्रोजेक्ट पे काम करना छोड़ा नहीं था जो थर्ड ईयर में था, उस पर करते गया था मैं काम. ठीक है, आई डिड नॉट lost the track of that project or started doing something new or started pursuing web development or something like that. Web development is pretty cool, पूरा नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. Okay, so don't mark me on that. And फिर so I started pursuing that project, and फिर उसके बाद अभी इसमें क्या आया था, नए प्रोजेक्ट में क्या था. So there was active learning along with machine learning. Okay, so machine learning तो मैंने कर लिया था. Now the only thing that I needed to learn was active learning as compared to what other students had to do. They had to do a lot of things, so I was a bit lucky as well. But active learning में I started reading research papers. I started reading some books and रिसर्च पेपर पढ़ना चालू करो यार. लिटरली दे वुड इंक्रीज योर नॉलेज बाय लॉट. ठीक है, कितने रिसर्च पेपर नहीं पढ़ते हो, पढ़ना चालू करो. फर्स्ट ईयर में हो, तुम लोग का रीडिंग स्किल इंप्रूव होगा, GRE के लिए काम आएगा. हु आर प्लानिंग फॉर मास्टर्स, ठीक है, स्टार्ट रीडिंग रिसर्च पेपर्स. एंड सो आई स्टार्टेड रीडिंग रिसर्च पेपर्स. फिर आई स्टार्टेड कम्युनिकेटिंग विद मेंटर्स. एंड सेकंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, हम लोग के GSOC के स्लैक चैनल पे कितने लोग, कितने भरे पड़े लोग हैं, और रोज वो लोग कम्युनिकेट करते हैं डेली. ठीक है, कुछ भी करते हैं, ढंका करते हैं, बकवास करते हैं, सब करते हैं, बट कम्युनिकेट करते नहीं. अगर तुम कम्युनिकेट नहीं करोगे देन तुम लोग मेंटर की नजर में दिखोगे. ठीक है, सो दैट इज ऑल्सो अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट यू शुड अभी कम्युनिकेट कब करोगे? व्हेन यू आर डूइंग समथिंग एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम यू कैन कम्युनिकेट. अगर कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे हो तो कम्युनिकेट क्या करोगे? और कुछ बुलशिट भी कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर सकते, वो लोग पकड़ लेंगे तुम लोग को कि क्या कर रहे हो, तो इंप्रेशन डाउन हो जाएगा फर्स्ट टाइम. तो या तो करो ढंग का एंड करते रहो. एंड फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट थिंग, फाइंड योर इंटरेस्ट. ठीक है, it is very difficult, I know क्या पसंद है, even I don't know, sometimes I feel that, but find your interest. if you like machine learning, फिर उसमें ही करो, don't go for web development. machine learning पसंद है तो तुम machine learning में उखाड़ोगे. ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं है कि तुम वेब डेवलपमेंट का प्रोजेक्ट इजी है तो वेब डेवलपमेंट का कर रहे हो और GSOC मिल गया तो 4 महीने तुम्हारे आसानी से नहीं जाने वाले. if you are going for web development and if you love machine learning. so I did machine learning, and this time also in final year project also it was मशीन लर्निंग प्रोजेक्ट, एक्टिव लर्निंग प्रोजेक्ट एज वेल. अभी चालू होता है फर्स्ट मंथ कम्युनिटी बॉन्डिंग. ठीक है, मेरी पड़ी थी कि भाई पूरा प्रोजेक्ट होगा कि नहीं 4 महीने में. सो आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग फ्रॉम कम्युनिटी बॉन्डिंग पीरियड इटसेल्फ. एंड सो आई स्टार्टेड डेवलपिंग डिफरेंट मॉडल्स, not particularly because we did not have data at that time. And I started looking at the pre-processing scripts की कौन सी use करूँ, which of the following is the best one, and started working in the community bonding itself. तो mentors को भी लगे that if by chance I am not getting selected by the I am not being able to complete by 3rd month, they would be like, हाँ, he has worked for quite a long time. Fortunately, I completed the entire project, And so there was another partner with me who was on the same project. This does not happen everywhere. Okay, so there is one project and one student. This time there were two students on a single project because the project was like it was quite large scale, and there were many biostatisticians. Detail में नहीं जाऊँगा. There were many people, many researchers who are going to use it. Okay, so it was pretty much large scale, and they wanted to minimize the errors that were happening. ठीक है? So first month, as I started contacting with the mentors, I realized that भाई ये लोग बहुत बाप है अपने से. We don't know a thing. ठीक है? कुछ नहीं पता हम लोग को. They know everything. मतलब there is not a single point where they are like कि so, and वो लोग ऐसे बात करते हैं कि I think this might be the right solution and this is the right solution. हम लोग sir this is the right solution. So they always use the word I think, supposedly कि अगर कुछ भी गलत हो जाए so they can, so nobody can blame them. That was a pretty important thing that they used, and they knew tons of things. Okay? And I had fortunately 6 mentors, 2 students and 6 mentors were there. So there was no chance that I could not develop a good product and pretend that it is a good product and show them that this is something like it.
So the communication, the communication I'll say is the key, and actually you'll learn a lot from them about the communication. And that's just that's the same throughout like all the open source competitions. It's not just limited to GSOC. It's the same in MLS Fellowship. It's the same in Hacktoberfest as well. And and we'll just talk about Hacktoberfest in a bit. I think Kunal will just wrap up his story about GSOC.
Okay, so now let's have a look at the project. Source code is so big. भाई पूरा source code थोड़ी देखना है. Issue पे जा.
We'll get
issue देख ले. Issue solve करना चालू कर. कुछ ढंग का comment लिख, तेरा काम चलने लगेगा. ठीक है? So this is the part where I contributed. So this is basically all the research that was being done and all the things that was being maintained in the, and people say कि documentation बहुत है, documentation बहुत नहीं है. 4 दिन में हो जाता है पूरे 3 महीने का documentation. ठीक है? So there is not that much documentation. People are like there is too much documentation. You have to write lot of things, but it's not like that. You have to just improve your code, improve your skills. That's it. ठीक है? So this is the repo. I'll share this with you. I'm not going to show in detail. तुम लोग बोर हो जाओगे. मेंटर्स ढूंढेंगे कैसे? भाई तू GSOC के जो पास्ट ईयर है उन लोग के Slack चैनल पे जा और वहां पे पूछ. And so this is the project that is overall developed. ठीक है? By me and my friend and who was also my partner named Diego. ठीक है? So this is the ORCAL where you are training the active learning loop for validating the samples that are uncertain. Okay. So how does it start? So this is the training accuracy, validation accuracy, which should come pretty soon. I don't know why it is not coming. Let's label some of them. Okay. So these are connected to the S3 servers, S3 bucket, and the S3 buckets get their data from the hydrophones that are there inside the water.
Yeah, I think there's no point getting into that much detail because it's no proof and nobody will understand. But yeah, that's true. Okay, so yeah, let's just wait for the model and then we'll get to Hacktoberfest and MLS Fellowship.
So
How to use GitHub?
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll start that with around 2:10.
So yeah, can you hear the sounds of the Orca calls?
No, I don't think that is audible.
Okay, one second. Let me share the site with you. And here you can label the samples. Okay, so here you can label the samples, only those samples that are that the model is uncertain about. Okay, so there is no point of labeling the samples that the model is quite confident about. So therefore, we used active learning, and you can label it that is whether it is an Orca or not, and then you start for the next one. So this is the sound of the ship, and you can then label it as well. So no, then vessel, something like that. Okay, so that is one of the thing, and you could further take a look at the project as well. Okay, so I think I would wrap it up, and if you have any other doubts, you can message me on LinkedIn. Do you want me to share my LinkedIn?
Yeah, sure. So Kunal can share his LinkedIn and you guys can get in touch with him if you have anything.
If you have any other doubts, feel free to message me on LinkedIn. I would be happy to solve them.
Yeah, so Kunal has
Okay,
his
yeah.
exam, so I think he will be going. Or you're staying, I don't know. Kunal? Do you
Yeah,
want?
so yeah, I would tell it for a minute, Ayush. So initially what I did was I converted the audio data to images. So in the form of spectrograms, and then I used those images, spectrogram images, to train my model. Initially I tried with to save those audio data in .h5 files, HDF5 files, but that did not work out that great. So I tried for the images, and then I trained the model on the images of spectrogram. Does it help?
So the model was actually trained on images instead of the actual audio file, right?
Yeah, you are correct.
Okay, so you don't directly deal with audio data, you just deal with the images in that.
I convert the audio data to spectrograms, and the spectrograms are then fed to the model.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, then I would be leaving. If you have any other questions, you can message me on LinkedIn, or yeah, you can message me on LinkedIn. Bye.
Cool. Thanks, Kunal. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for inviting, man.
Okay. No issue. So that was Kunal, guys, and now I think we'll quickly get into. Okay, so guys, can you just say in the chat that you want to know in detail about MLS Fellowship, or do you want to just go to Hacktoberfest? Because I'll be happy to talk about either, and we can. I think we can just talk about one due to the time constraint. So Hacktoberfest, okay. There's one person saying Hacktoberfest, MLH. Okay, everybody wants to know about MLH. Hacktoberfest. Okay, so I'll just quickly go over MLH and then we'll cover Hacktoberfest because the event was advertised as Hacktoberfest. I'll just share my screen. Just a second. Cool. Yeah, can you guys see my screen? Yeah, cool. So what is the MLH Fellowship? MLH Fellowship is basically Major League Hacking, and they give out a fellowship. And what do they do basically is they combine. Okay, they partner. Yeah, they partner with a lot of companies like which you can see here. So there's GitHub, there's Facebook, there's Royal Bank of I don't know what. Then there's Dev.to. There's Amazon Web Services. And what do they do is basically, so there are 3 tracks in MLH Fellowship. There's an Explorer track, an open source track, and an externship. So Explorer track is for beginners, or I'd probably say intermediate, because they don't, MLS Fellowship, they don't usually take complete beginners. But what the Explorer track is about is that for 12 weeks, so the MLS Fellowship is a 12-week program. And for 12 weeks, you'll have hackathons every 2 weeks. So you'll have your orientation in week 1, then you'll have 3 hackathons through week 2 to week 6. Then you'll have a career week, and then you'll have again hackathon. So this is for Explorer track. So the Explorer track is basically for people who don't have much projects in their resume or portfolio, and they want to add some projects. So for 12 weeks, you create around 5 to 6 projects using different technologies each time. So for example, let's just say that you're a Flutter developer, because that's just very common in people nowadays. I don't know why. Everybody is learning Flutter. So let's say you're a Flutter developer, and in the first hackathon, let's say week 2 to week 4, you make something using Flutter. So you'll work in pods. You'll work in pods of like 12 people or 10 people, and inside those pods, you'll have 2-3 teams, so for like of 3 or 4 people. So let's say your team made something using Flutter in the first 2 weeks. So the next 10 weeks, you won't be using Flutter. You will be using let's say Node.js or React.js for web development. You might be using some machine learning towards the end. And the technologies that you use are totally up to you, but it's just that you'll be using different technologies every time. So if you're an app developer, you'll be making an app just the first time. The other times you'll be definitely making something else. So that's good for adding to your resume. You'll have a ton of projects, and that will also help you in understanding what you actually like. Do you like machine learning? Do you like web development? Do you like app development? Things like that. So this is the Explorer track. This is for like intermediate experience level, I'd say. This is the open source track in which I am currently working. So the open source track is where they partner with companies like, you can say, Facebook and Amazon Web Services and things like that, and they have different projects on which we can work. So for first week in the open source track, we have a hackathon just for like bonding purposes, and whoever wins that hackathon goes to the global finals. I'm actually hoping that I will, because our project was actually good. And then from week 2 to week 6, we actually contribute to the project. So this is the project that I'm actually contributing to. It's called Docusaurus. And I believe someone said that the code base is really large. So I just want to show you some things that will actually kind of cheer you up. So what Kunal said, you don't need to know the entire code base. You just need to start working on issues. And as you're solving issues, you'll get to know the code base better. So I'll just show you something. This me and the person I'm working with, we just solved one issue, one good first issue recently, and it should be here. Just a second. Yeah, I'm in expansion. Okay, so you see this done one here. Okay, so we have a lot of to dos here. I'll just get on this after this. Yeah, so this is the issue that we solved. And if I don't know if you can see the pull request that, yeah. So this is quite funny. You guys will actually understand what me and Kunal were talking about. It isn't about the code base, how large the code base is. It is about how you can solve the issue. So what the issue was that, yeah. So in here, what they were saying that whenever you run a project, right? So it was showing project is running at localhost port 3000. And let's just say that I want to run the project at localhost port 3000 / my website. So that it wasn't showing that. And what we did was we were showing this that Docusaurus website is running at localhost port 3000 / whatever you want to show through our pull request. And what our pull request actually did was if we go to files change, we just changed 25 lines and we deleted 16 lines. And even out of that, you know what we did? We just cut this from here, pasted this here, and then we just added a, where is this? Yep, this console log. So this was the actual thing that we added to the whole code and we just solved an issue. So that's how easy it is. It's just that you don't need to be terrified from the huge code base. You just have to work through it and try to understand from where the program is going towards. So this open source track is actually good and it can be, understood as something like an internship, a good industrial internship. The stipend is quite huge. It's like up to $5,000. You get it according to the country in which you're living and your needs. And in MLS Fellowship, 150 students are selected worldwide every quarter because it runs every quarter. So it runs for 3 months, thrice in a year. So that was like a quick tour of MLS Fellowship. If you guys have any doubts about that, then I'll take that. Otherwise, we can move on to Hacktoberfest. For Explorer, do we get stipend? I'm not quite sure about that, but I'm guessing that you do, but it's a smaller amount. I'm not sure, so I won't comment anything on that. The stipend is up to $5,000, but you get it based on your needs and in which country do you live. What are the perks of doing MLH Fellowship? The perks are similar to as what Kunal said in GSOC. You get a very good mentorship. So currently, I have mentors. I have 3 mentors who are just my career mentors to whom I can ask questions about my career and what I want to learn, how will I go about after college and things like that. Then I have one project maintainer for the Docusaurus project who guides me for anything related to the project. And then I have one mentor who's my pod mentor to whom I can literally go and ask anything and just chat with him if I want to. So they're like that thing. Do we know if we are fit to apply an open source or MLH application? So MLH application has a charge of I guess $15 to $30, but you can opt in to not pay that and they won't judge you on the basis of that. So if you don't pay for it, it doesn't mean that your application won't get selected or anything like that. And how do we know if you're fit to apply? So basically, first you have to do some projects of your own, and then you have to do some open source competition. So as I said in the beginning that before doing MLH Fellowship, I did a lot of open source competitions. I did PSOC, I did Girls Trip Summer of Code, and these are the couple of popular ones. I did a lot more competitions like this. And then I was actually maintaining open source projects. So when I was maintaining, I had some confidence that, okay, now I can apply to the open source track of MLH Fellowship. Okay, so I think that's all about MLH. If anyone else has any doubts. No? Now we'll move to Hacktoberfest, the thing that we are actually here to talk about. So Hacktoberfest is something that you can start with. So I also started my open source journey with Hacktoberfest only. It's for anyone in the open source community. Even beginners can participate in it, intermediates, experts, anybody can take. What is Hacktoberfest? It's just a open source competition. It's not even a competition. It's for getting people into open source. And what you have to do is you have to register on this website, and you don't have to do anything. You just have to go to GitHub. So let's say I'm on GitHub, and any issue. So what open source is all about, that you have to solve issues, right? So you can search here in GitHub, and if I search Hacktoberfest, let's say, so I'll get a lot of repositories or issues. Okay, I think it's searched in. I need to search in all GitHub. Yeah. So if I go to issues, so you can see there are more than 49,000 issues for Hacktoberfest. So obviously, if there are more than 49,000 issues, you'll probably find something for beginners, something for intermediates, and something very difficult also. So what I'm working on DocuSolve is that is also combined with Hacktoberfest as well. And what you have to do is nothing. You just have to register here. You have to find the issues, on GitHub. Let's see if we can find anything. So I'm a JavaScript developer. I'll just search for JavaScript. And these are all pull requests. Okay, this is an issue. Let's see. By the way, there's a list of games that we have the Hacktoberfest topics. So yeah, they have said that, okay, these are all the topics that we have. You can just go there and contribute to any of them. And if you register on the website and then you get in 4 pull requests, don't worry about if you don't know what pull request is. I'll just get into that in the GitHub part. If you get 4 pull requests in, so you just win this t-shirt. It's a really cool t-shirt. I have it. I left it in my hostel, but yeah, you get this t-shirt and you get some swags like stickers and whatnot. But that's not even the main part. You can opt in for like planting a tree instead of this t-shirt. And the best part is that, again, what we talked about, that you get the mentorship from people who are maintaining Hacktoberfest repository. So I'm also maintaining a Hacktoberfest repository, and people will guide you that where you are going wrong and what all like you can improve upon. So yeah, that's it upon all the 3 open source events, and I'm open to taking questions if you guys have any questions about any of the events. If not, we'll move on to like introduction to Git and GitHub, and it will be a really simple introduction. And yeah, that's it. So I had submitted a PR in Hacktoberfest, but it shows review phase for 14 days. So should we continue to? See, even if you're not getting into competition and you're not having your PRs merged or anything like that, you should not stop that. I mean, obviously, me or Kunal, when we started doing PRs, of our PRs didn't get merged. My PRs still aren't getting merged in DocuSolve, but okay, we are working upon it, and obviously, it will get merged in some time. And open source is just great for you know, as a learning experience, and you'll have a great industrial experience. And even if you don't have any internships, you can actually say that, okay, I contributed to this repository, which was under University of Washington or Harvard University or things like that, and it's probably better than an industrial internship, I say. Cool. So if you guys don't have any doubts, can we start with introduction to Git and GitHub? Can you guys just say a yes or no in chat? Review the org one is merged. So you can just talk to the mentor in the organization that this issue is happening. Maybe he can help you out. So yeah, guys, can we just move on to GitHub? Cool. Okay, great. Let's move on to GitHub then. I just have a couple of slides. So first of all, you'll hear a lot of people using Git and GitHub reversibly, and it's kind of correct, but I'd say that it's actually wrong. So there's one thing as Git and there's another thing as GitHub. What is Git? Git is a distributed version control system for tracking changes. Now this sounds really, like technical and like something complex, but it's nothing. It's just a thing which you can use to track changes in a repository. So like if I open this, and let's say I open this pull request, and I don't even know which repository I'm on. I'm just opening any repository because everything works the same. And so you can check like what files are being changed in this repository, what checks are being passed, how many times did the person added new code. So this is basically a version control system. So you can control if you don't like, for example, let's say someone merged this into the main code, and then they realize, okay, this might not work. So they can just revert back to the old one. So that's a version control system. Good. So you can control what is happening and what is not happening. What is GitHub? GitHub is a cloud-based hosting service that lets you manage Git repositories. So what these repositories are using underneath is Git, and GitHub is just a platform where they are managing it. Similarly, there are other platforms also like GitLab. So GitLab is one more place like GitHub where you can manage projects which use Git underneath. And there is, I think, Bitbucket. I'm not sure. Oh, Bitbucket, yeah. Let me just see. Yeah, it's Bitbucket. Let me just open that as well. Yeah, so this is Bitbucket. So all of these GitHub, Bitbucket, and GitLab are essentially the same things. You can use it to manage repositories, manage your code. But the most famous one is GitHub. You can, like, nobody uses GitLab or Bitbucket that famously. These are used by companies or offices to manage their internal repositories, you can say. So if you're starting into open source, I'd suggest that go with GitHub. There's no other better choice than that. And I personally haven't used Bitbucket or GitLab even once in my life. I only use GitHub, and everybody only uses GitHub. So that was just a small introduction. So now we'll talk about some Git terminologies. So these are the seven main things actually. Seven main things that you should know. Seven main terms which you should know. Let me just open GitHub and we'll talk about on. So I'll just open my profile. And cool, yeah, so this is my profile. Let's take any project. Let's take this project. It's a well-maintained project. Cool. And we'll open the presentation. So the first thing is repository. What is a repository? Repository is basically a code base. This entire thing, this is one repository. If I go back, so this Elemento is one repository, polling app is another repository, task manager is another repository. It's basically the whole code base of one project. One project is one repository. And let's go to the next term. What is push? Okay. So whenever, let's say I made any changes in this code, let me take one project which doesn't mind me making any changes. Yeah. So this is one more repository that I made for like a similar event. And let's say I want to change its README. Okay. I'll just open its README and I'll click on this edit button. Obviously, you should not do this. Do it like this. You should do it on your computer, on your code editor, something like that. And in the end, I'll just add here new change made for the workshop. Cool. And so this is a change I made. Okay, let's just assume that this is one change I made in the code and not in the README file. Let's say I change a piece of code. Now I have the changed piece of code on my system, but it is not in the repository. And I want it to be in the repository, right? So that everyone can use it. Let's say that this is a feature that I added in the code and I want everybody to have this feature. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to push this code from my system to the repository, right? I'll have to push it. So to push it, I'll just click on this button, commit changes, and that will just push it. So now if I go back to this repository and I'll scroll to the bottom, you see that this changes is there. So I've pushed a new change into this repository. That's pushing. Now pull request. Okay, so this might be a little bit complex to understand, and if you don't get it completely, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it, but I'll try explaining it to the best of my ability. Yeah. So you see that these are all the repositories which just have names in front of them, like the project name, task manager, GitHub Finder, polling app. These are all my repositories, the code that I wrote from scratch and I uploaded to my profile. This code, however, it says Astha GitHub /Elementor. So Astha GitHub is someone else's profile. If I just open it, me and her worked on a project, and what I did was I made a copy of that project on my profile. Okay, and how GitHub works is I made a copy of that project, and then I copied that copy onto my system, and I made my changes there. Okay. Do you guys get it till here? So I'll take this very slow. Do you guys understand that I copied someone else's repository and then I cloned it into my system and I'm working on it? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, very good. So I'll just explain a couple of terms before I explain positives. So let's just explain fork and clone. What is fork and clone? Okay. If I go to any repository, let's say I'm going to the original repository now, okay? Or for that matter, I can go to any repository. Yeah. So you see this option fork. If you click on this, what it does is that it creates a copy of that project on your profile. Let me just fork any random project. Let's just go to GitHub homepage. Let me just check out any random project. Okay, there's this project, SafeNet. I have no idea what it is. But let's say I want to work on this. So I'll just create a copy of this into my profile. What I'll do is I'll click fork and I'll fork it to my profile. And it says it's forking. So you can see that it's like a photocopy type of animation. So it's creating an exact copy of that project from that person's profile to my profile. Now it's here. You can see it's written Sarthak Kundra / SafeNet. And if I just zoom, it says it's forked from this person / SafeNet. Yeah. So I created a copy in my profile. Clear till here? This is forking. FORK. Yes or no? Is it clear or not? If it's not, I'll explain again. Cool. So forking is clear. Now let's say I want to make some changes in this code in my system. So what I'll do is, you see this is kind of like a download button. I just click on it and I can clone this. So if I just copied this and I don't know if I have Git Bash installed on this system. I don't think so. Okay, let's just open command prompt and anyway, I'll just go to desktop and let's just say that I want to clone this project. No, now the next term that we're talking about is cloning. What is clone? I mean, clone is pretty self-explanatory. It's just that the copy which is on GitHub, I want it on my system. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this link and I'll open command prompt and I went to desktop first because that's where I want the copy. And in here, what I'll do is I'll just did not get copy. Let's just copy it ourselves. Control C and let's go here. And I copy it and then press enter. So what it will do is this entire repository from GitHub, it will take it from here and it will just put it in my system on my desktop. So it's downloaded, that will take some time. And I think this folder must have been created. Yeah, so the folder is created and now it's just cloning. Now what I want, if I have to make any changes, I'll just open Visual Studio Code. I'll open this folder, I'll make my changes and then I'll push it, just like I showed you guys before. And whatever changes I push, it will be in this repository, my fork, okay? Not in the main one from that person. It will, the changes which I'll push it into my fork. Is that clear? Because if that's clear, then pull request will be really clear. That whatever changes I'll make on my Visual Studio Code, when I push those changes will be showed here in my copy of the repository, not on the main repository of the person. Yeah. Okay. So 2 people are clear about that. If anybody is not clear, guys, feel free to say. I'll explain it again. We have a lot of time. Anybody here who's not clear? Otherwise, I'll move forward. No one? Okay, cool. So let's just say that I made any changes, and if it's done changing, I'll probably make some changes. Okay. And let's close it. Let's say that I'll make some changes in the README here again. And I'll click on edit. And in the end, I am making changes for a workshop. Cool. And I'll commit those changes. So now this will be clear. If I go back to this code, so you see in the end here, this is my fork, right? This is my fork, github.com/Sarthak Kundra /statement. So these changes are here that make changes for a workshop. But if I open the main repository right here, if I open this, and if we scroll to the bottom, you see that it says let's help each other be safe, the original thing. And in mine, it says let's help each other be safe and making changes for the workshop. So the changes are in my fork. Now, if let's say I added a new feature and the feature is working great and it is on my repository, now I'll want that that person also has, the main repository also has those changes, right? So I can create a pull request.
Sarthak, sorry to interrupt you. There's
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
Tejani is asking what you
I
did
saw
in
it.
the command line. Can you explain a bit?
Yeah, sure. So what I did was, Where's my? Let's just one second. So first of all, what I did was I forked the project, right? I made a copy of that project in my GitHub profile. Now to make any changes into the code, I cannot make any changes in the code here now. I mean, it will be really difficult that I go here and let's say I go into inside this and then I click on this edit button and make any changes here, then I won't be even be able to run the project to see if the changes are working. So a better way to do this is copy this entire repository into my computer. So it's done copying here. And what I can do is essentially I can open my code editor. Let's say I use Visual Studio Code for my work. And I mean, I haven't opened it since a long time, so it will take just a second. Yeah, cool. So I've opened Visual Studio Code, and let's just say I want to make changes in that project, the SafeNet project. So I'll just go open folder, and there's that SafeNet, right? Yeah. So now I code editor easily. Like let's say if I want to change the index.js now it will be loaded here correctly. I can just make any changes and I can then run the program, see if it's working fine. And if it is working fine after adding my new feature or new changes, then I can push the changes into my code. Did that make it clear? So CMD, what I did was I just cloned the project into my own computer, nothing else. Yeah, cool. I just cloned it and now I can make any change. ये readme में change मेरे fork में है, but it's not in the main directory, right? Here. So on top, it now says that my branch is one commit ahead of the main branch. Why? Because I did one commit when I changed the README. So now, let's say this commit was not a change in the README, this was actually a feature. And now I want that Aditya, the person who owns the repository, he also has my feature. So what I'll do is I'll just create a pull request. Here, I'll just click on this, and what basically is the pull request is I'll request Aditya that okay, these are the changes that I made. If you like it, can you just pull all these changes into your main code base, and then it's up to Aditya that uh, if he wants to pull those changes or not. So I can just click on this. I won't make it because these are really bad changes, but yeah, then it will be up to Aditya if he wants to merge my changes or not. So this is the whole workflow of GitHub. Is that clear? Pull request, fork. If you have doubt about anything out of these 6-7 things, just you can let me know in the chat. Because we have an activity now that will help you give your badges, and you'll actually have to use a lot of these indoors activities in that activity. Anybody have any doubts on this? What is master branch? When we are making any changes, let's say which project of mine has any branches, I'll have to see. Give me a second. I think this should have branches. So whenever you work on a project, you work on the master branch. The master branch is the main branch, the default one which you can. Let's say I want to add any changes. Okay, I want to add a feature. But when you are adding feature, I mean, obviously, you have done that when you're coding and you have done any changes, the code base breaks. Your program stops working, right? Whenever you made any changes. So what you can do is you can create a separate branch and work on it. If the project is great, if the project is working, then you can just merge those two branches. Otherwise, you can just delete the branch which you were working on and तुम्हारे पुराने वाले change में कुछ change नहीं होगा. I actually have a fun activity which we can do. Did I save this? Just a second. It's a website which you can use to learn. Yeah, this is a website that you guys can use to learn GitHub entirely. I mean, I also use this a lot when I had some doubts. It's called learngitbranching.js.org. I'll just send this in the chat. You guys can use it, and yeah, welcome message. let's just, okay, so you want to know branching in Git, right? So the second one says branching in Git. I'll just click on this. And then it's a really great website. It will explain you what are branches. So it says branches and Git are lightweight and stuff like that. And I'll just skip through this. So these are the commands that you can use in the command line. So you remember that in the command line to clone the project, I use git clone and then I pasted the link. Similarly, to create a new branch, the command is git branch and then the name of the branch. So we are at C0 right now, commit 0. If I click on git branch new, you see a new image branch got created. It says that's all. There is two branching. The branch new image now refers to the commit C1. Commit is anytime you make any changes, that's called a commit. Am I going too fast? Is it? Is there any issue, or like, are you getting what I'm explaining in that website? Can you make a pull request directly using the terminal? So it wasn't possible until 1 month ago, one and a half month ago. But GitHub recently launched a complete command line interface, Git CLI, and now you can use it to make a pull request using the terminal. You can check out issues using the terminal. You can pretty much do anything which you can use on the actual website. You can do that using the command line interface. Is this branching thing getting cleared? I mean, is the website usable? Should I explain it more, or are you guys clear? If you guys are clear, then we can just move on to the activity. Cool. So yeah, you can just use this to learn anything about Git. If we commit a new commit created, and okay, Brahma, I won't get into this. Now let's just get into the activity which you guys have to do so that you can get your participation badges and things like that. So I think it's in my profile. What I've done is I've created a simple repository, an empty repository actually, and you guys don't have to do anything. You guys just have to go to it and add your name into the README. So it's called Intro to GitHub. If you want, you guys can fork it, and I'll suggest that you fork it, clone it, open it in a text editor, and then add your name to the README. Or if you want, you can just fork this into your main profile. You won't get a pencil like this here if you don't fork it. I am getting this because I've made the repository. You guys just fork this and then open it in your own profile. Click on the pencil to edit this, and then you can just add your name here. Let's say Kundra, and I'll commit the changes. And then you guys will have to create a pull request. If your name is there, I'll merge the pull request, and whoever will have their name here by the end of the day, we'll just give them badges to them. If that's, can you send the link of your GitHub? Yeah, sure. So I actually remember the link to my GitHub because I literally use it so much. So it's github.com/, oh, there's no dot. You know what? I'll paste it. So yeah, any doubts in the activity, anything like that which you want me to clear? Or any doubts in general now regarding the open source programs or open source or anything in GitHub? I can clear it. We have like 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes left. If you don't have any doubts, you guys can get to doing the activity as well. Yeah, I think
one thing.
Yeah.
Can we make some changes without creating a fork?
No. So the only the only repository in which you can create changes without making a fork are the repositories that you have created yourself. So if I again like go to GitHub homepage and just select a random repository, let's say this repository this time. Okay, it's again Aditya Kumar. So you see, I won't get any pencil or anything like that. I cannot make any changes because it's someone else's repository, it's someone else's code. I can fork it and then create any changes I want. And then if I want to send a pull request, I can. And if he likes it, he'll merge it. If he doesn't like it, he'll probably scrap it or like convert it into a draft. Because you should understand, right? If I am able to create changes in your project without your permission, then anybody can just mess around with anybody's code base. So that there will be no point. Anyone? Oh yeah, and a couple of small things like you can click on watch if you want, so that you'll get notifications whenever any changes happen to this code base. If you like someone's work, you can just start the repository. Let me just start this. Everybody feels nice. And yeah, those are some things you can do. If you want, you can go to someone's profile and You can just follow that person. I think the button is somewhere around here. You can just follow that person if you want to know what new changes they've done, what new projects they're working on, so that you can also work on those projects with them. Yeah. So that's it, guys. Now we're open to questions. If you have any questions, anything in general, also if you want. If you want, Abhishek, you can make some announcements if you have, or otherwise we can end the session if no one has any doubts or anything like that.
Yes, thank you, Sarthak. First of all, I would like to know, is my voice audible?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. So first of all, I've shared the link for the activity, so you guys are free and go ahead and make a pull request. If you want, you can clone the entire repository as Sarthak explained. You can fork the repository and change it, and then make a pull request, or either you can just edit the README file. There is a question, Sarthak. Would you like to take it?
Yeah. Basically, open source means to solve issues in pre-built projects. No, it's not like that. I mean, we create projects from scratch as well. It's just basically combining resources to create projects. So even when you start working in like an office or something, every office uses some kind of a version control system like GitHub, because obviously you have a team of, let's say, 100 developers, and even companies like Facebook or Google, the teams are like thousands of developers. So to work combine forces, you have to use something like GitHub to create projects. I mean, you cannot send code on Google Drive and things like that to everyone while you make changes. That's why they use GitHub. So open source basically means that you're solving issues for people in some cases, but in some cases it also means that you're creating projects from scratch. Like for example, this project, I have it in my profile because this project was created by me, her, and a couple of more people from scratch 2 months ago. Yeah. So you can create from scratch, I think.
Yeah, and GitHub is more about collaboration rather than, it is not just about like a personal project. It's more about collaboration and working together on a project. So keeping this in mind, recently DSC VIT Bhopal has also launched an open source project, which is basically like a social media platform. You can check the repository if you would like to contribute in it. That would be great.
I'll show it. Witbook, right?
Yeah, Witbook. You can walk them through the README file.
It's a simple project, guys. It's basically built mostly using HTML, so it's very beginner friendly. You guys can solve any issues in that. And we have like 11 issues right here. So it's been maintained by Abhishek and Smith. Smith is our web lead. And you guys can just go through the issues. So whenever you go through the issues in any project, and if you're a beginner, I suggest you do this thing. You go to labels and you just click on good first issues or help wanted or things like that. So whoever is the maintainer of the project, they tag some projects as good first issues, so they know that people who are new to open source or new to programming in general, they can solve these issues and then work their way through difficult issues. And
yeah,
one
right. And
one way of how
can you walk them through the read?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
As Smith, Aman, and Surya, all three of them are maintaining the project, and they would be considering all your issues, and you can have any doubt, you can clear in the comment section only.
Yeah, so whenever you start an open source project, it's good to that you just go through the README, because the README has everything that you need to know about the project and how you can, get the project in your local system. So they have explained it here as well, that you fork it, then you clone the project, and you do pip install. So there are obviously some commands that you have to run to install the dependencies that the project is using. And then there are all the steps here, so you can just follow along the steps. And if you have in any step, you have some issue, you're not able to do it, or you cannot understand, you can always message the people who are maintaining the project if you find some chat here, or you can just create an issue and tag it as a question. So you can just create an issue, add a tag of question here, and the maintainers will be happy to answer your question. Is it on GitHub pages? No, it's on Heroku app. It's hosted on Heroku.
Yeah, it's on Heroku app.
Yeah, here it is.
And the sample logging credentials are provided in the README file.
So, yeah,
so if anyone wants to test it out, you can explore the website.
Okay, it's taking time, but yeah, you get what it is.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, and adding on to it, and there would be few of you that doesn't have a profile on GitHub right now. So you can create one and then you can make a PR.
Yeah, if it's okay, I have something to add, if you would permit.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Go.
So actually, for this Hacktoberfest, I created a small repository for new contributors so that they can contribute easily. It's not like a somewhere where you can spam and stuff. So it's like a good beginner project for anyone who's trying to get into web dev and stuff. It's just basic HTML and CSS. So if you permit me, I'll share the link in the chat so people can view it.
Yeah, sure. You can share it.
Okay.
Also, guys, I have shared the community link of the DSC VIT Bhopal. So if you haven't joined the community, you can be a part of it. Just follow the link, and there would be a button of joining the community. You can be a part of it, and for being aware of the upcoming events, you can also join the Discord server. All the updates are made there regularly. We are also sharing resources which might help you and the project suggestions, so you can be a part and get involved with the technology which we are working with.
Yeah, so and one more thing that I'd like to add, you can just join the Discord because like what Abhishek said that you will get to know about upcoming events. But apart from that, you can actually ask your doubts about any technology or if you have any doubts in this project as well. We have channels there where you can ask your doubts and we'll be happy to clear them. The Discord invite is in the chat. Abhishek has just sent it, so you can just click on it and join. I think that will be it then.
Yes, I think that is enough. And one more thing that tomorrow also we are conducting another event. It is a collaborative event which will be conducted by 5 different developer student club leads. So being a part of that event would give you opportunity. We are conducting the event on Google Actions as you might aware that tomorrow is the Google Developer Day. So we are conducting an event on Google Actions. So would love if you join the event, and you will also get opportunity to be get in contact with members of all the 5 different colleges and discuss technologies with them.
So yeah, cool. That'll be a recording of the session will be on YouTube. I don't think it will be on YouTube, will it be?
Yeah, it will be there on YouTube, and we will be sharing the link on the Discord channel.
Okay, so that's great. You guys can see the recording, and the link of the Vidbook was above as well, but I've sent it again if no one found it. I just send like most of the important things again. So this is Vidbook. Discord invite is right there, and I don't think anybody wants my GitHub profile. If you want, it's above in the chat. You can just go through it. Yeah. So I think that's it, guys. One last call. If you have any questions, feel free to ask it for like a minute. If you don't have any questions, you can just leave the meeting and we'll end it as well. Thank you so much. Okay, I think we can end. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, guys.